Halfway through the autopsy photographs, Judge Richard Baumgartner stopped the proceedings. His hands were shaking. The jury was crying. One juror asked to be excused permanently. What happened in that Knoxville house in January 2007 was so savage that even the legal system, built to process the worst of humanity, couldn't hold itself together. And what happened to the judge afterward was the twist that nobody saw coming. Shannon Christian was 21. She was a sociology major at the University of Tennessee, 4 months from graduating. Her boyfriend, Christopher-Newsom, was 23, a former baseball standout who worked construction and had just started dating her 2 months earlier. On the evening of January 6th, they had dinner, visited a friend, and were heading to a birthday party. They were standing in a parking lot, Chris in the open car door, kissing Shannon goodnight, when Lamarcus Davidson and his associates approached with guns. They were forced into Shannon's Toyota 4Runner and driven to Davidson's rental house on Chipman Street. Over the next several hours, both were beaten and raped repeatedly. Chris was taken outside barefoot in January, walked to a set of railroad tracks, shot 3 times, and set on fire. His body was still smoldering when it was found the next morning. Shannon was kept alive longer. She was tied into a fetal position, a plastic bag secured over her head, then placed inside 5 garbage bags and stuffed into a trash can in the kitchen. The medical examiner confirmed she was alive when they put her in. She suffocated in the dark. Bleach had been poured in Shannon's mouth to destroy DNA evidence. The perpetrators then scattered. Davidson was found days later hiding in an abandoned house across town, still wearing Christopher-Newsom's shoes. 5 people were charged: Lamarcus Davidson, his half-brother Latalvis Cobbins, their associate George Thomas, Thomas's girlfriend Vanessa Coleman, and a 5th man, Eric Boyd, who helped Davidson hide after the murders. The trials ran separately across 4 years, 46 charges per defendant, multiple juries, hundreds of court appearances. Davidson was convicted on 35 counts and sentenced to death. Cobbins and Thomas received life without parole. Coleman received 53 years. The families had been in courtrooms 283 times before the last gavel fell. And here's the part nobody in that courtroom knew. While Richard Baumgartner was presiding over the most disturbing trials in Knoxville history, while he was ordering crying jurors removed, while he was delivering sentences, he was buying prescription opioids from a felon who was on probation in his own court. 2 to 3 times a week. Hydrocodone. Roxicodone. She testified later that she charged him $250 to $300 a hit and that she also provided him with sexual favors during recesses. He was addicted. He was impaired. And nobody noticed until the last trial was already over. In March 2011, Baumgartner resigned, pleaded guilty to official misconduct, and entered drug treatment. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation concluded he had likely been impaired for his final 2 years on the bench, which covered every single one of these trials. A new judge reviewed the cases and ordered retrials for all 4 defendants. The families, who had spent years watching verdicts handed down in that courtroom, now had to watch the possibility of those verdicts being taken back. The Tennessee Supreme Court ultimately stepped in. It ruled that a judge's misconduct outside the courtroom doesn't automatically require a new trial unless it can be shown the misconduct affected the proceedings themselves. Davidson and Cobbins kept their sentences. Thomas and Coleman were retried, both convicted again. Baumgartner was later convicted on federal charges and served 6 months in prison. He kept his pension. The conviction was eligible to be expunged. The house at 2316 Chipman Street was demolished in 2008. A memorial stands there now. Shannon Christian's name became state law. The Shannon Christian Act limits what defense attorneys can say about victims' character in court. Her father Gary said it best: every time something comes up in a courtroom, the DA quotes the Shannon Christian Act. They're never going to be forgotten. The judge who oversaw their killer's convictions served 6 months and got his record wiped. The man on death row is still waiting, and the families are still counting the courtrooms.